Hello. So I wanted to do one last part on this, just to cover a few questions and, well, one thing that was missed. Well, a couple things that I missed before. So first of all, the question was, what if you were grabbed by a bear from behind? Well, this isn't exactly from behind, but long story short, if you're using this guy, generally speaking, he's not doing above 40. So that's typically 40 is a safe bet for most of the bears. If you're grabbed, true, you can't immediately turn around and look at it to make sure that that's what it is, but you will get an audio cue that it's there, and you can still turn around and attack it. So if you select the tile where it is, so for example, if you hold control and click there, it'll just turn around and attack in that general direction. Another thing was about dying to diseases. I assume that would be to this guy earlier on. Now, honestly, I think the best bet early on with this guy is to immediately pump strength up. It pretty much improves everything that he's already good at, makes him a little bit stronger, and also makes all these pesky diseases and poisons just go away on their own. Once you get it past 70, odds are you're really not going to be dying of this stuff. It still has a chance to go up. I mean, generally speaking, I'm not sure if this is exactly correct, but it sort of seems to be that whatever your might is your percentage to resist it whenever it comes up for a tick. So I guess there's a chance per every certain turn, every few turns, to essentially have a check on whether or not it passes the might check, and then it goes up or down accordingly. And honestly, past 70, most of the time it's just going down. Even at his base thing, it's usually going to be going down. He starts off at 65. That being said, though, that's why he comes with 3 of these bars right here, which help to resist it. I don't know if it actually helps after you've already gotten it, but if you essentially just use these as your main food source starting off, they're generally going to be a pretty good bet for keeping you alright. And then another thing was about traps, and unfortunately you can't always detect them because he's dumb as a rock, but brains would be the stat for actually detecting more of them. Most of the time though, unless you're directly stepping on them, you're still going to end up detecting them, and you can't actually make an item. Let me see if I can find it here, some kind of scanner thing. Actually, that won't exactly say what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the recipes. Essentially, it's a ground scanner that will go ahead and find any traps nearby you. By the way, one unfortunate thing, he can't use Chitin Plate. One of the best, he can't use it. It would pretty much be completely overpowered if he could, but it would have been nice. And let's see here. Well, grab boots help to avoid them entirely, so there's that, if you need them. The items are... well, I mean, these are common, these are common. Boots are semi-uncommon, semiconductors pretty rare, but you're still going to run into them eventually, so if you want to go ahead and chance it at that, bear in mind his crafting rates kind of suck for a while. I mentioned in the response too, you can make base paste without too much of an issue. It's generally good to keep that stuff around if damaged equipment is your issue. Pretty much every few attacks you just apply another one. I believe it's three pieces of fat to make one of those. I don't know how far down the list this thing is. Kinda would be nice if in the future they add some sort of search option for this stuff. But yeah, going back up here, base paste. Yeah, 2 bits of fat and some bone. This pretty much renders you immune to acid for, I think, like 4 or 5 attacks. That's pretty near perfect right there. Also, these things that I mentioned, they're pretty darn fantastic. They're one of his best foods earlier on. But the odds of actually being able to do it, kind of on the low side. But if you can, they keep him going for quite a long time. I believe he gets like a 20 or so bonus, something like that, to using those. Yeah, I thought it was called a hand scanner. I could be wrong, but it's just basically the scanner thing you put together. I believe it was, you needed a screen, some electronics, I believe a, what was it, I think bats are always dropping, the sound piece that they're always dropping. Pulse resonator, there it is. Yeah, so it's a cybernetic brain, soft screen, and a sonic module. So that'll basically scan for any traps around. Personally, I mean, okay, you're likely to end up with these as spare parts later on, so you might as well. Personally, I've never found them to be enough of an issue to actually bother with that. Yeah, so there's fat strips. Now I just need a cooker and can make some base paste. And the nice thing about base paste, it's just a passive that's always there. You don't really need to re-up it until you get attacked. It doesn't seem to wear off until you're actually hit by something. Ooh, toolkit. So yeah, there's that. You keep your crappy key. Another thing I didn't mention last time, generally when it comes to the Hiver, it's better to do faster quick runs. I was basically trying to do normal for the sake of showing how it works normally. But just in general, his drain coupled with typically how he does things, for a seriously run from the first floor to be, you know, fairly possible, I would say that this is probably the most likely way to do it. Just so his equipment lasts the longest, he doesn't end up having to need as much. There aren't as many drop chances, but again, he is completely not based around recovery at all. Recovery is just dang near impossible for him. So he just needs to keep going, and the smaller the distance, the better it is. Also, I found most of my successful runs, even though it's generally inadvisable with most other characters, he's typically alright tanking hits from failed skill checks and things like that. So, like, if you're opening a box and the thing explodes on you, he's gonna be a lot better at surviving that. So it's sometimes okay to take really crappy chances. Some things, like if you're going and opening a pantry, there's a very good chance that you'll get the item anyway, but you'll just trigger an alarm. And hey, if everyone's deciding to come down a hallway, funnel themselves up to be, you know, killed off around a corner, that can be a pretty nice benefit. Alright. Nothing damaged. Nothing's damaged, so oh well. Unfortunately got touched there. That sucks. Was kind of hoping to have a little bit of extra time, but didn't happen. And now another thing, if you're doing a quick run, generally you also can survive a lot better in terms of just, you know, you can keep your armor around. Unfortunately, with most of the other ones, you end up having to strip yourself down just to make sure that it doesn't get completely ripped off you. Now, at this rate, there's a pretty good chance to survive the next attack, but just in case. But the Krazen pretty much tears through bears that you were asking about. Most things that are unarmored, it does a pretty good job of cutting straight through, because again, it is his closest thing to claws, and he gets it right from the start. Again, only downside is you don't want to use it too much because you don't want it to be worn down. But it's pretty much just there to get rid of your high HP, low defense kind of guys, which are going to be bears, snakes, you know, tigers to some degree. Alright, don't like that scary robot sound in the background. And how's this doing? Yeah, 67. Already repaired it once. Just want to get to this cooking station to show what I mean about the base paste. And as for always, you want to make sure to clear out the surrounding areas before getting to your crafting. You are just a dick. Back here with my toolkit. There. So, 43% chance like this, not ideal. However, just do one of these, 98%. And wait for a level up. Make that a few percentage points higher. If there's the possibility to pretty much abuse the level up mechanics to get free biotech like that, it's the way to go. Alright, now in this case, let's just go around the corner. Knock down this rat. Go after these guys. There's a chance something will come from over here. But mostly I just want the blob to go around this corner. Move down here to get a better view of it. Perfect. And then do it again for the little ones, and done deal. So early on, there's not a whole lot of ammunition for that thing. Cells become a lot more common as you go on. Wow, that's useless. But, good to get the skill check at any rate. Biotech, forging, perfect. Mechanical, get some pistol. Couldn't have asked for better, and saved 1 point from before. Ooh, actually I ended up getting a double by mistake. Oops. Alright, well, gonna need engineering for later. Most of his fighting stuff is pretty well up there, so it doesn't make too much sense to invest in it early on. Yeah, I think I'll save the last two for now. And yeah, actually, no, those are just saved up points. And get this repaired just to potentially get a skill drop. Good stuff. Now these you can activate them multiple times. Sometimes you can just get some free XP out of it, which works out especially well on these fast runs because you end up getting double. So that kind of stuff is a lot more useful. Nope. And that's not who I thought I was attacking. Yeah, stuns suck, so if you can get rid of these little flying drones first, definitely the way to do it. Alright, might as well go take out this guy. I guess just two of them spawned in the blue room? Weird. Alright. At any dang rate. Aggressive antibiotics, what are the odds of that? 52. So already by this point, he's pretty okay at making antibiotics. So those are going to be better than the ones you come in with. So usually by the time you get to your first station, you at least have a 50-50 shot of being able to make something that'll pretty much wipe out diseases. And at that point, you can just start using these as your little freebie, make them go down. And all that. Actually, one bit of experimentation. Yeah, so his rate is 78% at this point for the aggressive ones. Most times you won't be in the middle of a fight when you need to use one of those. Alright. Yeah, I don't know why it keeps opening up that menu like that. And generally speaking, I prefer to not even experiment when it comes to the trapdoors. mean, it's good to know what they are, but I found quite often I would just end up going to test a door, drop a bunch of things, walk through it, and then, you know, wind up with no health or items all of a sudden, and then I can't get to the other side of the door. That's just not fun. Actually, I think my best example of that yet, there was this one time that I go to check an item door, so it's one of the ones that reduces health. I was already at like half health, so it ends up reducing it to pretty much nothing. Get to the other side of the door, get a wormhole trap, get all my friggin' stuff gets locked behind it, and yeah, needless to say that run didn't go well. Alright, these fear bombers suck. It's kind of annoying because they leave, they heal themselves, they come back. And the main idea is you go to one of these, hopefully you find an interrogation pod. You prevent them from healing themselves because they blow themselves up instead. But if you can get them stuck by a door like this, they will spend their turn opening the door instead. And that's one way to deal with them. Just unfortunate they have so much health. Oh no, my non-existent Psy is gone. I don't want to get stunned by him. And yeah, those guys can be invisible. That's not fun either. I'm gonna assume probably correctly since this room's empty. Most of everything's already been, most of the robot stuff's been taken care of already. Right now, what was I trying to do here? Yeah, get another fungi bar. And I mixed up which room I was nearby. It's kind of nice when those guys are able to get paralyzed, but it only lasts one turn. It's much preferable to just lose a turn than it is to end up running around with the fear status for like 5 turns. I don't know how long that thing can last, but it sometimes feels absurd. Now, ballistic repair kits are pretty good for him. You know, the repair efficiency is only about 70%, but he's got a much better chance to use them, and he can use a multi-tool. So if you can find those, unlike with a lot of characters, it's actually kind of worthwhile to let him keep those around, even though they take 2 slots. There we go, got the thing anyway, whatever. I'm gonna go for this, just because there is a small chance that it will give me a drop anyway. Because he can resist poison pretty darn well, as previously mentioned. Okay, no trap skill drops. The thing is with him, since again the goal is just getting down to the bottom as fast as possible, what it's good to do is to find wormhole traps, use those, essentially just try to pick up a few along the way, usually like 2 or 3 or more than enough. And if you're doing a quick run, that basically allows you to skip up to 12 floors. So it just gets them down to the bottom much faster. Very handy. But yeah. Next, when it comes to tainted meat, always find it better to just eat it with this guy. It's got a pretty low chance of affecting him, long story short. Now, one thing I haven't touched on yet is his, as far as deciding what items to keep or throw out. Now, with most classes, whenever you know, come along the situation that you find anything out of the heavy weapons category, normally the immediate thought would be, okay, do I have power armor? If yes, you know, hang on to it, use it, demolish entire friggin' floors. Or, if you don't have it, usually you're just either going to put it into storage if you have that available yet, or just leave it behind. Because those things are heavy, they take a lot of space, etc. Now, a nice thing about this guy, both he and the striker are able to just use them. They don't need anything special. You find a friggin' automatic friggin' rocket launcher or whatever, He's fine, he doesn't care, he can just use it as he is. Alright, now... how's armor looking? Surprisingly decent. I'm gonna spare flamethrower burst here. Mostly because I want this bear to get caught on fire so that I can deal with this guy. So that he's not ripping holes in my armor. Because for some reason, fighting a bear is less damaging to what you're wearing than that rat thing. Alright, give me another couple free heals, because those will be useless pretty soon. Yeah, starting to get into the beefy enemies here. Blow it open. Blow it open again. Yeah, for some reason double-clicking it's the problem there. Alright, now. Nice thing about bears. You've got some kind of projectiles on you. They will not leave their room. They're just there to be territorial. So you can completely cheese them out using a doorway. You walk up here. Right now I have nothing I really want to save in this general direction, so I'm going to go ahead and burn those. Shoot at this robot because I want it gone. Unfortunately, it sounds like it triggered something else. Ooh, nanowires. Still missing a few bits to be able to put together a lifter pack, but good to have. Ooh, and also, Omni Gland. Not great for this guy, amazing for anyone else. The idea is you pretty much use your hunger as a weapon. Yeah, if you make a, I think it was called a Bioblaster with it. Let me look up the thingy here. Yeah. Creepy. Alright, so yeah, this thing's awesome. It's a bunch of rare stuff to actually make it. Or, I mean, I guess scale skin isn't that rare, but all the rest of it's reasonably rare. But it's very specific stuff that you probably won't keep around. I had the very first time I ever beat this game was, I believe, on normal. Had completely run through anything that could actually beat the last room, and was just exploring the last few floors because this character I was playing as a ranger for that one. He had no health, no items, everything was broken, and just, you know, I had everything but the Omni Gland in storage, just like, I usually just dump crafting ingredients in there. Found a lab, found those parts, and then just barely managed to go back 3 floors, beat that final room, and then, you know, go and open the tank there and beat the game. Which, by the way, yeah, no, they would have starved like 3 steps out of that room, so I'm not so sure how the long-term viability of all that went, but it worked. I mean, it friggin' worked. This thing is ridiculously good. It just pretty much makes you starve when you use it. You know, some plus, some minus. Alright, so down to 44 on the hunger, and that's not great. Alright. Do some foraging, do some bio. Do these 4 all go up at the same time? That's beautiful. Probably want to use this instead. Alright. Nothing too fantastic to be made here. These, if you can make a pile of these before the end of the game, they can save you a lot of trouble. So personally, what I like to do with this guy, if doing the whole like skipping to the last floor thing, odds are you're not going to be able to get the key drops in time. And again, want to just make the shortest distance possible in that last place. So what I usually try to do, and at this point, his odds of making these are still pretty high, is I would just go make a bunch of these, like 10 or so. And that's usually enough to get through 2 or 3 of the doors. So, cuts down the travel time significantly, especially that the first couple doors are excellent. And then if you're able to drop some stuff, get an image inducer or something like that. So, let's say this is the floor, right? You start off here, you go here, you have your mob room over here. You go up, fight through these guys, go up, then blow up the door over here, go around, use the image inducer here, go around, go through this door, go around the hallway, go up, then it's like 2 more rooms here, one here, and then you have the final room here. So that's kind of the general route I like to go through. But, yeah. Medkits, not a very high chance of being crafted. Generally not a very good use of that thing's charges, because this will only be able to charge 2 or 3 things. So that is generally that. Let's sort this crap out here. Trying to see what food items are the best to use right now. Probably eat up these, because they're not going to be used for anything. Have some of these pellets. And there we go. A little bit of fuel in the tank. The literal tank in this case. And I don't want to get an alarm set off, so I might as well keep going. Only got like 10 more minutes here. If this run ends up surviving past that point, well, then I will probably just continue it on Friday. Because what I was meaning to do is do Seriously Fridays. And I was asked to put together a guide and... well, hell, I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time. Alright, this is a prime example for these guys need to go the hell away. When it comes to these grenades... just another quick point. Sorry, need some water. As long as you have 2 left over, they usually come in drops of 3. So, personally I found it most efficient that you've just got random mobs that it would really help out with at the time. You know, it may not be perfectly necessary, but it can help you out with a situation like that where there's either a chance for a higher disease or there's a chance for going berserk. And you'd rather just not deal with the potential expenditures involved. As long as you have 2 left over. Oh, Christ. You know what? This, because there's a chance that their brain's around. Oof. Alright, that was rough. Where are my patches? There we go. Actually, screw it. Fail. Okay, that's bad. So this kind of stuff is why you want to keep a level up heal on at all times. Don't have one of those. A little bit overwhelmed and kind of traded a semi-bad situation for a much worse one. Good lord, how much crap is in this room? Yeah, these guys rarely shoot 2 turns in a row. So you can kind of be a little aggressive with them. There's a chance for that guy to do some damage, so... not that... I don't want to use one of these right now, but for now, I just need some breathing room. Give me space, you bastards! Stupid bear. Alright. And these kind of situations are what these were for. With everybody else, it would be something more along the lines of you needed to take a quick break. With the Hiver, it's more like I need to just heal. Anytime. There's no resting. This is rest in a box. Okay. That can go ahead and just wait a moment. Oh, fantastic. So, hum gum, another thing. That is something you always want to keep around with this guy. I haven't gotten to the point where I can actually make them yet. Need a cooking station and these things on hand. Always keep a stack or two of them on hand. Because this guy is freakishly afraid of things, apparently. But no, it's based off the resistance stats, which he has none of. And he has like no chance percent to avoid it. So those things are a free move, they cure it instantly. I think, yeah, you can still use these while you're in fear. But they can always fail. And unfortunately, even looking a particular direction causes them to run away. So, just stuck. I can't really do much about this. Alright, let's burn through all our healing items, because that's like 8 rounds that this crap has lasted. I do hope that for Pit 2, they go and they tone that down a lot. Because fear is stupidly strong. Like, I'm perfectly glad with dealing with RNG and things like that, but oof. Fear is nuts. Just plain nuts. Now, in this case, kind of gotten to a rock and a hard place. There's a security room over here, robots over here. Not really any healing or restrooms in between. Already teleported out of here, so I know that this whole area is completely occupied. So at this point, it's kind of time to start burning through some food. I'm going to go through the rotten and tainted stuff. Just, you know, best I can make is a blandwich. It's a bare upgrade to these things. And just take a crappy rest. At least get some health back. And we'll see where that goes from there. I mean, I'd like to at least get 80 or so on hand. Now you can see how crappy of a trade this is. What can you do? Crap happens, you know? Sometimes you have an okay run, sometimes you've got a bad one. Just let this tick up a little more. Kind of getting into the better parts of it anyway. Alright. Let's do this thing. Perfect. Yeah, no. Do that. You dickhead. Like I said, it sucks when there's a lot of these around, because options are a little bit limited. How is his status still not over? Why does it need to last forever, and he can immediately do it all over again as soon as it ends? His cooldown's over super quick. I'm not terribly salty about it, because you can do the same thing to them, but it's still annoying. Alright. That is no longer a going situation. Let me double check how much health these things have. What was it called again? Oh yeah. Guys are 30. Hang on, what was their armor? 80. I think it did 5 to him there. Okay. So he's generally staying there. Can I somehow round the corner of this guy? Might as well take another crappy rest, actually. It always sucks when this happens. One grenade should be enough to finish him. I'll just let it go up to 60 because I have only 3 minutes left and I gotta go. Alright, fair enough. Now it's still waiting there. Dick. Alright, so there's another one. Probably could have just taken 2 shots with the Krazen, but did not want to risk it. Please open and not explode. Disruptor grenade. That is frickin' useless. Oh, and there's been a bed here this whole time. How about that? Alright, take a look through this box. Hopefully don't find an alarm. And go ahead and close both doors. And alright, that is an ending point if I've ever seen one. And I will be continuing this on Friday then. So thank you. Hopefully this has been at least semi-useful, and not just a dull affair. Let me know.